elect. I'm sorry, the member for Menzies. I had thought there might have been a change. The member for Menzies has the call.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm pleased to rise to speak on this statement about the recent canonisation of Mary MacKillop. And in rising, I acknowledge the celebrations that were held throughout Australia over the weekend, including those in Melbourne organised by the Archdiocese and the Sisters of St Joseph that I attended, along with many thousands of other people, and also acknowledge at the outset the bipartisan approach to this, the fact that both the government and the coalition promised in the context of the election campaign to provide funding towards those celebrations and related events, and in fact that members of both sides of Parliament attended the events in Rome over the weekend. Madam Deputy Speaker, the canonisation on Sunday of Mary MacKillop is an event that all Australians can celebrate, not just Catholics. Men and women of every faith and none can rejoice in the life of this extraordinary Australian. Canonisation is not the religious equivalent of winning an individual Olympic gold medal, although many, including some Catholics, speak as if it is. In an age of individualism, it's perhaps difficult to understand that Mary was motivated by a profound commitment to community and the common good. Over the past few weeks, many claims have been made on Mary. She was a feminist before her time, she was a rebel against the clerical church, she was a pioneering social worker. She's even been claimed as a model for the independents in the federal parliament. Mary MacKillop was a gifted woman, a strong-willed and determined leader, a builder of schools, homes for the poor and congregations. But she was more than all of these characterisations. Her long-running disputes with various bishops have been well rehearsed in recent weeks. It was real and painful for her, but she was no rebel. She always accepted the authority of her church hierarchy, praying constantly that the work of her sisters would be able to prosper. Her prayerful perseverance was rewarded as previous decisions were reversed, including her excommunication. At her passing, Archbishop Moran observed, and I quote, "Today I believe I have assisted at the deathbed of a saint." Mary was an immensely practical woman. Her sisters, young women in their late teens and 20s, left the cities for the hardship of small towns and rural communities in the century before last. Preparing them for the task was uppermost in Mary's mind. They, and I quote from her, "must be trained spiritually and in worldly knowledge necessary to enable them to take the stand the Church in Australia requires of them." The work not only included teaching in the schools she founded and caring for the poor and homeless, but begging when necessary for the funds to live on. Her practical Christianity attracted support from Catholics and non-Catholics alike. While motivated by faith, she was also a woman of the world. When women gained the right to vote and to be elected to Parliament, she encouraged her congregation to participate. "It is the duty of all of us to vote," she wrote to her sisters in 1903. "Find out who are the members proposed for election and vote for those who are considered most friendly to the Church and to religion. Every so-called Catholic is not the best man." We can learn from Mary MacKillop that clear vision, perseverance and determination will overcome obstacles. But most of all, we learn that faith is not a relic. To claim Mary for some current political cause is to miss the essential meaning of her life. She was motivated through her love of Christ to bring about a better future for hundreds of thousands of Australians. In an era that often seems besotted by vice, she reminds us that hope and courage are enduring virtues. In 50 years, the small school she founded in 1866 at Penola with Father Julian Woods had grown to 106 houses, 12 institutions sheltering over 1,000 people at the time, and 117 schools with more than 12,000 pupils. Her life was an exemplar of the call to love one another as I've loved you. A few weeks before her death in 1909, having previously suffered a stroke, Mary wrote, "Whatever troubles may be before you, accept them cheerfully, remembering whom you are trying to follow. Do not be afraid. Love one another, bear with one another, and let charity guide you in all your life." Madam Deputy Speaker, it is a fitting epitaph and a worthy commendation for all of us.
Thank the member.